I think as a church we do lots of things really well, but these things are, I mean, in terms of like the way our church runs, synodical bodies, liturgy, the way we practice Christianity within our communities, is kind of a construct that is very similar to the same construct that missionaries brought pretty much 200 years ago. I think our church doesn't acknowledge change a lot, or we may acknowledge it in some senses, but we don't embrace it a lot, or at least acknowledge it in the way it should be. I mean, like the way I see that our church runs a lot now is run by a generation that the needs and aspirations of that generation who run the church, the situations that they talk about and the aspirations that they have would be great products and like fixes to problems like 20 years ago. We don't really embrace our like the needs of today. It's just daunting. It's tiresome. I mean, the church in a lot of senses is a drag. Doesn't have a lot. We have life and vitality, but it's kind of snuffed out. I know there's a lot of rangatahi here today, and you know, I mean, a lot of our kaumātua and koe go, oh, yeah, okay. I've heard a lot today that hea te kaupapa nunui, he rangatahi. But how many times has a rangatahi stood up and addressed the synodical body here today? Or we are given speaking rights in terms of this. We're given speaking rights, and yeah, okay, that ticks a box. But like, are we really asked? No, what do we think about the church? What things applicable to us or our spirituality do we treasure? Do we treasure whakapapa? Do we treasure liturgy? What enhances our expression of Christianity as mihi nare in Aotearoa? A lot of the time I hear kui and kaumātua go, oh, those tamariki and rangatai out the back, you know, noisy and all that kind of thing. And okay, and that's the thing. They're outside. They're not engaged in the discussions and those topics and subjects which are brought to the attention of the wider Pihopatanga, and they're disengaged, I think, more in terms of these kaupapa, because they're kaupapa that aren't applicable to a generation of the 21st century in a lot of senses. They're kaupapa that are applicable to a generation like 20 years before our own time. And even just, I mean, as a church, I think we really need to encourage and promote perhaps the involvement of younger people in terms of what ordination is, or involvement in the church. I know a lot of people, I mean, people my age go, oh, no, I don't want to go to church or be involved with the church because, oh, God thinks I'm a sinner, this, blah, blah, that, and oh, my nanny says this. You know, it's a theology that is like from the 1840s. Theology's changed. You know, there's an acceptance of and an acknowledgement of our human nature, and there's a more emphasis on it, especially nowadays. And there's authors writing on it and all this kind of stuff, and the boost in terms of contextual theology. I think that's something us as Māori also need to adapt to, is contextual theology. We have a lot of theologians who are doctors in terms of liturgy and you know, biblical studies, but where are our contextual theologians in Te Hahi Mihingare today? I mean, yeah, they might be working, but they're working behind the scenes or in their own time. I'd like to see more of this contextual theology practiced in our wider church, or at least experimented, or, you know, just to keep our church alive, instead of just repeating the same old, same old.